Hey guys, today I finally am getting a video to you that I have been meaning to get out for quite some time. It is, it's midnight and I'm going to do this. I wanted to do it the other day, but I couldn't because I ran out of printer ink and then I had to wait till it came in the mail. So anyways, I'm going to show you how to make your own stencils. Yay! A lot of you have been asking for this and you've been very patient. Thank you very much because it's taken a while. So I'm going to show you a few of the stencils I've made. I have so here's like a bamboo one. And I do have a silhouette cutter. And I have tried using it for stencils. But honestly, it is confusing because you have to make sure that it doesn't cut it at important parts, because then it all just falls apart, right? And I spent so much time a couple of years ago trying to figure out the islands and the bridges. Yeah, I know. And honestly, this is just so much easier. And in my opinion, it is cheaper. So I'm just showing you some. I'm going to show you some of these, how they actually look when I print them out. Here's a chandelier. So a lot of these you will get the negative and the positive image. And so here's an example of that. So we've got a silhouette here, right here. So I could stencil that and then fill that in. I could paint it in myself. And then here's the actual image that I took out of there. Here's one of those things I showed you. This is just from the jelly plate. I use a lot of these on my jelly plate. My printing plate that I've done. If you're interested in the DIY for that, you can go to that link right there. It is a DIY, make your own jelly plate. These are some daffodils. And then so here's the actual image, and then here's the stencil I made from it. And I just kind of store them in this folder. I don't have like a really awesome way of doing it. So you can see this one is kind of apart, but it still works. And I just love these patterns. So if you go, for those of you who may not work with stencils yet, or you're interested but you haven't gone and priced anything out, you might say, and a lot of you who do know how much you've already looked into stencils, as a lot of people do with my DIYs, why not, I'd rather just make my own, thank you very much. And of course, go for it, no problem. But a lot of people seem confused as to why anyone would do this. Well, I'm going to tell you. Because you can kind of customize them to what you need. So if you're looking for roses, you might go to a store and you can't find roses. Well, you can look for an image with roses and now you've got a stencil for it. I've also made stencils of my own photos. The other thing is, you can get the size. You can get, a proper size that you might want. Here's another one that is the negative and the positive. So this is a little Easter one. She's so cute. And then here's that. So this is what it is. And then I didn't do the little baskets, but I did that. And then we've got both of those images. But getting back to what I was saying, I do just want to make sure that I say that all of these images that aren't my own photos are images that I would not use to sell as for a print or for as my own artwork. Like I would not be making money off of these. These are for art journals and just different things. I would encourage you that try to find as many photographs or free images that you can. Many people love to do DIYs just because it's another form of creativity. It's just another art form, you know, like let's make our own stencils just because it's fun. And they like taking the time. They like doing, you know, that kind of work. Some people don't. If you don't like it and you hate it, well, then you don't have to do it. No one's telling you you have to do this DIY. I love this print, actually. It turned out really good when you use it. Oh, here's one that I did not do anything with. Here's another just kind of general one. And another reason is money. People don't, you know, they can't, some of these stencils, they're literally like, in my Michael's where I live, they're like over 20 bucks. A lot of stencils this size, and I don't have that money. So I'm going to show you what I do to kind of save money. So this is a stencil I made from a photo that I took in Maui. Here's another one. And I don't know if this is from a picture or not, can't remember. Here's the positive or the negative image of that one. And if I can remember when I'm editing, I'll just show you the picture, the actual photo that I did that from. And I'll just put it in here. And here's one of the jelly prints I made from it. And oh, here's the positive image of that other palm tree. I like to keep these separate because stencils, bought or made, they get so tangled up with each other, and it drives me crazy. So I like to keep a sheet of paper in between them just to kind of keep them from doing that. The first thing I want to tell you, where do I get these sheets from? So they are just little folders, report dividers. You can use anything, like this is not very thick, but it's durable enough to use as a stencil. And they're very cheap, so you can get a pack of like 8 for a few dollars. Staples, Walmart, probably some dollar stores, not dollar stores that are around me. There's lots of different options, and I like the colored ones because I can see a little bit better. So I like to get the colored ones, but the clear ones will work just fine. What I don't do, and I have tried it and I do not like it, is to get the clear stencils, or the blank stencils that you can buy at Michael's or wherever, and then you can cut your own thing in there. I don't like those because I don't like the texture, and I don't like the stickiness because the stickiness just adds a whole another layer to it, like another aspect to it that I just don't need to deal with because it sticks to the paper and it sticks to this, and it's just a mess. So I don't want stickiness, I don't like it, and I don't like the blank stencils that you can buy because they are pretty expensive, and I just don't like them. Like I really don't like them. You could use transparency paper as well. Anything, you know, try it. You can try a different thing, try a few different things, try some different thicknesses, see what you like. The other thing you're going to need is a sheet of glass. So all I did was take this out of an 8x10 picture frame. You can do an 11x14, dollar store. You can buy this, just buy a cheap frame, but make sure it's glass and not plastic. So sometimes they're plastic or acrylic glass in those picture frames from the dollar store. Make sure it's glass. Plastic or acetate will all melt. And then I always have another sheet of paper here to see what I'm doing. And I'll explain that in a second. Okay, the other thing you're going to need is your tool to cut the stencils because we're not using a silhouette. Isn't that great news? We're not doing a DIY stencil where it's like, but first you have to go buy a $300 machine, Cricut, Silhouette, whatever. No. So I have a few different ones. So I'm going to just bring it up on my phone to show you what these are. And these are available at Walmart. These are available at Michael's. They're available at lots of stores. They're not a crazy, you know, out of the way item. So what this is called, this one here, is exactly this one. It's the Plaid Stencil Decor Stencil Cutter. And it was $24, and that's actually where I got this one from. And it comes with I think a couple tips. I think it comes with a couple tips. And I'll show you. I'll talk about the tips in a second. This is another one I got. This one I bought at Michael's with a coupon. And it has, it came with a few more things. It also has a switch here, which is not necessary for this. This red one doesn't have any switch. You don't need to. The temperature is just fine. But they don't switch on and off, whereas this one is nice because it can switch on and off. But because I want to be safe with my tools, I just unplug them all the time because I just, so they come usually in a case that kind of might look like this. And they also can be known as soldering tools. So I searched on Amazon and for soldering tool, and there was like this really good pack of soldering tools, and it had a temperature gauge and everything. And I think it was $35, which is awesome. So what you're looking for, what you're going to need, and they all come with this, is a pretty small tip. This one might even be a little bit big. Looks like no, I think this is the one I used here. This one right here. And sometimes if you're not careful, especially when they're really hot, they can break. And you can replace the tips, but I found it was actually cheaper when I was going to, because I've had another one before this one. So when I bought this one, I was actually looking to just replace a tip of a previous one, and this was actually cheaper. So I'm like, I'll just buy a whole new one. So, and then, you know, some of them, this one here came in this thing, and it has a lot of, you know, different tools. So these all get hot, and then, you know, you can use them to make different designs and whatever. You don't need all that. You just need the small one that will cut. So I'll show you what, so when it's cold, it's not plugged in or anything, so I can just take this off of here. But it is good to have pliers so that you can screw it on, because this does get hot. So now that I've got this on here, I am going to plug it in. It doesn't take too long to warm up. And this one, I don't know if there's a light or not that will tell me it's on. I'll know pretty quickly if it's on. They do come with little rests. The rests, the little thing that holds it up, is pretty much useless for all of these. It actually does more harm than good, because you think, okay, it's resting, and then it pulls down, and then, you know, you don't know, and you're not thinking about it because you thought you were safe. So that is the tool you need. Very inexpensive. You can use a coupon. Walmart does sell these as well, like I said. So you're going to need that. Now, to get your stencils, so I have one here that we're going to do right now. You can use photographs, and you can use different silhouettes from online. There's different places you can go. And I'm not going to take the time to show you how I do this in my computer. I'll just tell you. So what I do is I just open up like an 8x10 usually is what I'm thinking. So an 8x10 in like Photoshop, and then I take my image. So I have a folder with images that that are under stencils that I want to use for stencils, and then I'll take that stencil. So one was like a shoe that I did, and so I take that and I put it into my 8x10 and I size it on my computer how I want it, because I don't want, you know, if I have an 8x10 paper, I don't want the shoe to be like this. So I just make sure it fits how I want it to fit, and then I print it like that. So then it should be about the size I want. Keep in mind, this is like, what, 8.5 by 11, like when you're printing out. So you want to make sure that your canvas size is actually 8x10, and then print it out actual size. So you put your glass on top of this, and then you can, if you have a different sheet or whatever, you can use like a craft mat or anything. You don't have to use whatever I've got underneath here. You can use whatever. I don't know if this masking tape is going to work, so I'm not sure if this is the best background, but we'll see. It might stick. And I just hold this all down. So first I put the glass where I want it, because this is an 8 by 10 piece of glass. And then you don't have to tape it like crazy, just so it stays in place. And then I'm going to put this, and if there's holes in there, you can work around them. Don't let that deter you from buying it. And then this one, you want to make sure it's taped down, because this is your actual stencil and you don't want it to move. So I do usually tape all 4 sides of this. Yeah, this is already hot now. And you will smell a little bit when you start. There will be a little bit of a, because you're basically burning the plastic here. You're melting it. But it's not like you're, doing a whole bunch of fumes or anything. Okay, so there is a little bit of a technique that works for this. So what you've got to figure out first is what is going to be the image. Are you going to do the lighter parts or are you going to do the darker parts? So I am actually going to keep it to this. So this is going to be my negative image. So what I want to do is I kind of want to get these little areas right here done. And if you were doing the opposite, like this, you have a little area, get those done first. All right, because there's lots here to anchor, right? But as soon as you cut all this out, there's not a whole lot to anchor that there. It's just the same rules as if you were using your X-Acto knife or like fussy cutting. So I'm going to just kind of do this. And when you're doing this, you kind of do, I can't really get right over top of it because I'm filming and I'll be in the way. But you are, when you look at it from, normally how you sit at a table, it does kind of distort where those lines are, which it might not really affect it, but if you're trying to be exact, you kind of want to get right on top of that and just... so that's what I mean. That's what I would normally do. But I'm going to actually show it to you without doing that so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to zoom in quite a bit. The other thing is, try to do as many lines without stopping as you can. Obviously, there's going to be times when you have to stop. And depending on how hot things are and how thick this paper is, or this plastic, you might have to go a little bit slower. So just make sure it's cutting. And just go as slow as you need to go to make sure it's going through the plastic. And obviously, thicker plastic is going to take longer. So try to do as much as you can without stopping. And I like to not start in a corner. So like this part here, I don't want to start right where that is because there's too many like little whatever. So start at a smooth spot and then you move like that. Because when we pick up and leave off, it can just make for a little bit of a jagged edge. So like I wouldn't start right here. I would start, halfway down or just go right inside of that line that I already have there and just go right from here. And do be careful because this is very hot. So there is a little bit of a heat shield on here, but I can just feel the heat coming off of here. So you gotta be super careful. And it wouldn't hurt to have like a mat that you could, like a silicone mat that you, and usually I do, but that was one thing I forgot when I started this video. like a glue gun mat that you could put this on, because like I said, the rest for this is useless. Oops. And if it, like it's kind of coming up off the glass there, so I just push it down so it's not like, I'm hoping you guys can see. I know my head's not in the way, but the tool might be in the way. So I was just trying to find a design that was, you know, had enough going on so I could show you the different things, but also simple enough that it wouldn't take forever to do this. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do on the outside in a second. And you can get quite, whoops, really wavy. You can get quite skinny lines with this. You saw the stencils I showed you that I've done, and some of them get really, really skinny. And if it looks like, ooh, that's just going to cut right through to the other cut, like that's just going to cut right through to that, I just go outside the line a little bit and just make it a little bit thicker. So it's just like a pen. I'm breaking some of my own rules here, but whatever. This one needs to be done. And it's kind of fun. I mean, you just sit here melting plastic. You know, I find that like DIYs can be really therapeutic sometimes. And so what I'll do is I'll just get a bunch and I'll just be like, I'm going to make some stencils today. And then sometimes I'll do it for a class when, you know, we're doing a winter scene with, I taught this before Christmas. I taught a couple classes. So it was a winter scene with a stag, and I was teaching people that had never painted before, so it's like, okay, well, you're not going to be able to paint a stag, and no one will come to the class if they have to paint a stag. So then it was a stencil, and then they're like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And then they still kind of shade, you know, did some shading and highlighting in it, but the general shape they didn't have to worry about, and we wouldn't have had time for the amount that I had anyways. So you do have to cut this out. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's do this. So what I do, because sometimes it can be confusing, it's like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, I don't know, is that gonna wreck the stencil? Like, all of a sudden am I not gonna have... and then if you want the positive and negative image, then you're like, okay, how's that gonna work? So I've got all the inside cut, I think. So all I have to do, like this one's a simple one, so I'm just gonna complete that, complete that. And just draw it in. And this one can be done too. I'm just going to bring this down, just like that. And then this one, I could just do a little end here. I'll get into the tape, but that's okay. There's a lot of tape we're going through here. Myself. Okay, there we go. So I think it's all cut, and I can smell that. You can see the smoke coming off of that, probably because it took a piece of my skin with it. I'm so used to burning myself. That's where I'm not careful, is making sure I don't get burnt. I'm very careful with my tools, making sure, you know, no fires are started, or no children can, or pets can get whatever. But of course with myself, I'm like, meh, I might get burnt here. And then I just pull this off. Okay, so now, and you might have to, you know, go through here a little bit. Usually you just have to kind of pull it. There still might be a few little places that it just is a little bit stuck together, but, oh, and I missed this, so I'm just gonna do it freestyle here. Okay, so I'm going to turn this off. I don't need it on. So now those bits I don't need. And I can take these out of here. Be careful when you're pulling because you could pull a tear where you don't want it to tear, right? So I've got this. It's not the greatest negative image, because it doesn't have the definition in there, right? I mean, it would if I put this in there. And I mean, if you want to do that, go ahead. That's a lot of work for me. It's like, you know, the inside of letters and stuff. I don't even know where these were. So it would have more definition if these were all in there. But this will work fine. And then I've got a nice little thing of tulips there, or daffodils, or whatever they are. Pretty sure they're tulips. Actually, I don't know. You know what? I don't know. So that is how that works. Now, I want to tell you guys something quick about something new I'm doing. I am going to be starting a Facebook group. And that is just because a lot of people on my channel they ask me questions and stuff. And it's so easy for me to miss them in the comments on my channel. And it's just a way, a Facebook group is just a way for me to communicate with my subscribers on YouTube, where I can be like, tomorrow's going to be this video up, so you can be looking forward to that. Whereas, you know, or I'm going to draw the giveaway tomorrow for the watercolor, which I am drawing, just so you know, I am doing the giveaway tomorrow for the watercolor winner. And it's just a really good way for me to communicate with you guys, tell you what's happening, because obviously, you know, if I have something to, you know, sorry I haven't been able to get a video up this week, whatever, I'm not going to do a video telling you that, right? I'd like to just post a message and you guys can see it. Also, it's a good way for you guys to communicate with me, and you can ask me questions like, hey, so I saw that video, I just have a question about that one video. Was that, you know, 1 cup of paint or 2 cups of paint? I don't know, you know. Or, you know, there's so many questions and stuff, and I do really want to answer that, and it's just hard on the YouTube comments to get them. And sometimes I don't see them, and I don't know why. Like, I usually try to look, and they're supposed to come up, and then all of a sudden I'll see a comment that was a month ago, and I'm like, what? I do not remember seeing that come up. And so I want to put that, so I'm going to start changing over my links below my videos. There is a link. The Facebook page is, I wouldn't say it's completely useless, but it is, if you were to join my Facebook page, which I'm sure there's lots of you that have, I have to pay every time I want anything to get noticed, and lots of times it still won't get noticed. Whereas if you're in a group, you will see that, or you can always just go check it out and whatever. And it's just a way for me to do that, and it will just be a very non-spammy group. And, you know, you can kind of choose as to whether or not, you know, how you see it or whatever. But I think that will really help. And then I can even put quick little videos, like, you know, if I'm going to Maui, I can, and I'm doing a watercolor on the, you know, ocean, on the beach or something. I can just show you like a quick 30-second video of something that I wouldn't put on YouTube, right? So I think that is a really, I'm really excited about that, and I hope you guys do join the group. I will put the link below this video, and I'm going to start changing, putting that link below my previous videos, but it's going to take a while. Otherwise, you can just check out the video or the group, and I will put the name of the group right down here. So you can see the name of the group and you can just search it too if you don't want to follow the link. But I hope this helped, and I'm sorry it took me so long to get this to you. And please do ask me any questions. You can comment down below, or you can go on the group and comment. And yeah, I will see you later.